fact, the poem that I chose to start with is my own little Simon. The Stillness. Once I was a sailor in a town with no name. Hey nani nani or go cat go. I had a red mountain bike and 2 skateboards, wheel confetti, but my skiff was my Uber pal. I could split the seam of any vector, river, lake, or draw, with coots sputtering from mangrove jumbles, surprised by my sudden proximity, and the imprint of my oar in the liquid sky barely visible. Some called me Micah Glint, and some called me Mary Louise, and both were fine with me, depending on which shoes I wore, sleek rubber or nubby hemp, woven in strips or knit from fallen leaves. I could cut through downtown squat in the slats as low and clean as a needle, gravel showers parting, clattering gray canyon air. Once I was a sailor with my long hair flowing, with a satchel of pink apples and a bouquet of peas, tendrils trailing, in a stub of an afternoon removed from sequence, heretic hovercraft, in a flat eddy where you watched from the shore or corner or car or chair, to whom I waved relentlessly as I glided past, uncoiling my way in circles or arcs such as cursive letters make. In that gap, in that rounded space, in my silent groove, like a paper boy in a paper boat, turning as I was turning. And this poem is called Position. A thought without a body is not a star. The yellow house in spring behind the yellow leaves, as if the sun meant to land there, squeezed between gray walls like a trapdoor, an exit sign. And so positioned as if the day itself had escaped the cartographer's lock, she polished her eyes beside the windows, always windows and doors, and generated fractions, phrases we call them, rain-filled hoofprints and mica strands, refracted in the looming glass like a sphere shedding horizons. Who was her secret polar tug, her bell pull, her atom cup? Was she raising or lowering ladders inside the staggered light, head down as if in thought, but seeing the mounted sky, the peeling corrugated bark, the coppery cigarette butts and polished plywood tabletops and dripping mugs of ale lit up like sunset gulls bound on a dive? Did she shiver in the shower of filaments themselves shivering, flared up in the corners and planes where they fell and streamed for her mouth and ears? The body of my star is a thought she plucks from the air that calls her name. Astronomer, wholly intemperate, the chandelier of noon. Her cheekbone perched on her index finger while the pattern spread. Vibrating frame, giant winged brain, imminence. And again, sort of synergistically, only in preparing for the reading tonight, did I realize that the filaments in this poem rise again in this poem, which I had not been aware of until today. It's called John Said. sprawled before us full of meaning, but which alphabet in? Is that you on the bed, arms up, legs up, eyes up? To make a bouquet of parts, sheared by the fluttering bamboo blinds. Are those my boots on the flat weave rug, solemn as tombstones, yet glistening like loam? Where the jade plant in its fat gold pot is magnet to the afternoon air that ladles on the, is that your nose ring flashing signals, recumbent decoder? My tipped vault opens onto African kente cloth splashed on the mattress that is by chance his extract and froth. A memory dispatch signs in just as the word galloping is mouthed, with E in Brazil tucked in a feral crouch, and J in DF thick with morning hair, and is it you, spindle, unreeling, filament, 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 in the heat of disclosure, tactile, attaching invention anew as face-to-face, totally occupying space, inhabiting space. And that filament, filament, filament with props is from Whitman's extraordinary poem, A Noiseless Patient Spider, where he compares his soul reaching out into the universe to the spider sending filament, filament, filament. This is called Helios cream. Helios being sun. Helios cream. Wiped it out, just wiped out the desk. Scaffolding dismantled. In the Helios cream of 9 a.m. Ornament air, if air could shower or flood. Wiped out the cylinder seals, the belligerent calculator, the bottomless tray with its unanswered letters, broken knobs, chopped shards, mushroom tips, and grinder ash. Who was sitting with his back to the window, a wedge in molten light, as the bedposts flickered and the book spines faded in the wavering grid, the foaming scarlet drapes bled out, vanished swagger, memento by memento released. Perched on the prong of a giant tremor, he scrambled to attention and shook his head like a tambourine. How many thirsty words flew out of his wide-open mouth? With lips flapping like gathering wings, he clambered up the rock pile, clausal, operatic, replete. In the courtyard at midnight, I listened to his warble and wail, calibrating the measures that would unwrap and unleash me. Choral orthography, archival vanishing points, pointillist clover, voluble lullabies, lapidary fishtails, thrumming abrasions, floral contingencies, radial timbers, crackle, fissure, stitch, and brine. I held my face in a gash of light and went under. The hat gets tipped to Robert Creeley in that poem, in the courtyard at midnight. So it shifts there to a lovely little town in the vast mesquite brush desert outside of Bisbee. And this is called The Opening Air. A searchlight obelisk, a suction stick. Lightning hits the desert wind wheel all night, spinning elbows of fire. As if in one flash and one flash, we see the whole picture. A trailer done up as a cabin, a wooden porch for a glade, 2 plum trees, the woods. gingerly a living space, tincture of the domestic, vis-a-vis the shawl of stars, nudged into place, loop of icons, decorative pot, throw rug, basket, and window sash, as a grotto in the vast cave of opening air, vistas of vistas. Do we go or stay, cuddle in the den or blast out on a gust of heat? Where the wind-swept valley and its faraway mountain crust, who we are and who we may become, on a continuum slant of diminishing border, as if standing or melting or being or seeing or floating or soaring or sighing or willing. And the panorama sightlines and skylines so near, and the images dusty and clear, meridian flyway, and the great sizzling bolts of light. I say when I go visit that I'm going to Arizona to eat sky.